Shalom, shalom. This week's gospel portion from Mark chapter 1 verse 35 to 45. It's associated with Parashat Tasria Metzora, the woman who gives birth to a leper, if you combine the questions. Now this week's gospel portion from Mark chapter 1 has two themes, and I'm only going to talk about the second theme. The first theme is about praying early in the morning and out in nature. But I'll leave that for you to read for yourself. What I'm going to talk about is Mark 1 verse 40 to 44 only, because that relates directly to the Torah portion about dealing with the leper, somebody who suffers from tzara'at, which is not the same as Hansen's disease, modern leprosy. I'll read the verses quickly for you. A man with tzara'at came to him, to Yeshua, begging him and falling on his knees, saying, "If you are willing, you can make me clean." Moved with compassion, Yeshua stretched out his hand and touched him. He said, "I am willing, be cleansed." I want to point out there, Yeshua actually touched him. Remember, somebody with tzara'at, leprosy, was shunned by the community. They have to move outside. They had to warn anybody who come close to them not to approach them. But Yeshua reached out and touched him. And he said, "I am willing, be cleansed." And immediately the tzara'at, the leprosy, left him and he was cleansed. Yeshua sent him away at once, sternly warning him, and he said to him, "See that you say nothing to anyone, but go show yourself to the Cohen. Then for your cleansing, offer what Moses commanded as a testimony to them." Now, first of all, tzara'at was diagnosed by a priest, not by a doctor. It's because the roots of the disease is spiritual. It's from Lashon Hara. It's from evil tongue, evil speech, and that's why the priest also have to declare him healed and to bring the sacrifices that Moses commanded. That we spoke about that in the Torah portion. Interesting, two doves, two pigeons. One have to be torn apart. The blood falls in a bath of water, and then it is sacrificed as a burnt offering. And the other one is dipped in the water full of blood and then set free. And it has interesting parallels to a number of other, the red heifer sacrifice, the Yom Kippur goat. Also, the burnt offering is burnt with hyssop, with crimson thread, and I forget the third element now, but similar to what happens when a red heifer is burnt to produce the ashes that will clean from contact with the dead. And then the water with the blood in, the priest is touching it and putting it on the right ear lobe of the healed person, on the right thumb, and on the right big toe. And that is similar to the anointing of priests when they commence their duty. But in this case, this man went out and began to proclaim and spread the word, so much that Yeshua could no longer enter a town openly, but had to stay out in the wilderness areas. Still, they kept on coming to him from everywhere. And that concludes the reading from the Bible. Tzara'at, as I said, is not Hansen's disease. Hansen's disease is known as modern leprosy, but tzara'at is a form of leprosy that came from Lashon Hara. It's the evil tongue. It's about committing crimen injuria, gossip or false testimony against other people. We have to question, why would the Torah bother to have a couple of chapters about tzara'at if it's an incurable disease? Because in the entire Old Testament, we read of only 3 people who got healed from tzara'at. The first one was Moses. At the burning bush, he put a held the hand into his robe, took it out, it was covered in tzara'at, and then he put it back in and it was clean again, healthy again. That was the first healing, and that was intended as a sign for Pharaoh, but Moses never used that sign. And the second one is Miriam, Moses' sister, when she spoke bad about Moses' wife, and she got punished with tzara'at, and Moses prayed for her healing and she was healed immediately. And his prayer is simple, El Nar Rafana Allah. You can read about that in the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 13. Very powerful prayer to pray for healing of any disease. And the third person was Naaman, a Syrian general who was healed after he followed Adonai's instruction that was given to him through the prophet Elisha. And so why would the Torah dedicate a couple of chapters, 4 chapters to tzara'at, if it's incurable? The reason is because it's there so that when Mashiach comes, when the Messiah comes and he heals people with tzara'at, that the priest will witness the healing and testify that he is indeed the Messiah. It is a sign to identify the Messiah with. The Messiah in his first coming, also the leper Messiah, because he carried the sin of the world on himself. He defiled himself to carry our sin away. He took on all the Lashon Hara, all the evil of the world on his own shoulders to atone for that on the cross. And therefore he is the leper Messiah, and the Torah portion from Leviticus 13, 14, 15 is all about him. Lepers were shunned from society. They were untouchable. But Yeshua brought cleansing even to them, even by touching them, as he did in this case. He did not become defiled by the touching, but because he is truly God and truly man, his touch defeated the impurity, the vileness, the disease. He healed the symptoms and the root cause of tzara'at by touching, and therefore it did not affect him, but rather his touch brought clean. It's much like light is not affected by darkness, but light destroys the darkness instantly at the speed of light, if you like. So the Torah then prescribes a process of priestly evaluation for declaring the affected person clean again. And it's not a physician, because the roots of the disease is spiritual, it's not physical. The priestly inspections happens over a 7-day period. 7 is meaningful, it's the number of God, but it's the number of the covenant as well. The Sabbath, the 7th day, is a covenant between mankind and Adonai, and the circumcision, which is on the penis. Penis in Hebrew is Zayin. Zayin is the 7th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and Zayin carries a gematria value of 7. And that's the covenant as well between the descendants of Abraham and Adonai. So inspections every we spoke about already. Yeshua upheld the Torah. He did not do away with the Torah. In fact, he taught that heaven and earth will pass away before the Torah will pass away. Torah will never pass away. When he returns to establish his millennial reign, he will judge the world and rule the world according to law. And so beware of false teachers who will tickle your ears by saying that the Torah has been done away with. If the Torah has been nailed to the cross, and in a certain way that is correct, then you have to believe that the Torah also resurrected with Yeshua, and the Torah will live and rule eternally with Yeshua. The people who advocate that the law has been done away with I mean, turn on your TV screen and see what lawlessness looks like in the world. Crowds go rampant. They burn things, property that doesn't belong to them. They create havoc. They steal. They rape. They murder. General chaos. That is lawlessness. Pastors who proclaim that the Torah has been done away with, they advocate lawlessness. That is what they advocate, the lawlessness you see on your TV screen. They may not realize that. I think they're not thinking about what they're saying. They're talking about doctrine and dogma, and there's no understanding in what they're actually saying. What they are doing is they're preparing the way for the man of lawlessness, the man of Torahlessness. We also know him as the Antichrist. They are disciples of the Antichrist. That's why they say the Torah law has been done away with. Flee from them. Don't listen to them. Leave their churches. You don't belong there. Yeshua warned this man that he healed from Tzara'at sternly to follow the Torah principles, show himself to the priest, bring the sacrifices as required. His purpose was for the man to bring a testimony to the priest. The healing of Tzara'at was a sign that Yeshua is indeed the Messiah. The priest would have known that and would have acknowledged that, because Tzara'at wasn't healed before, except for the 3 cases that I mentioned. The reason why the Torah gives in Leviticus 4 chapters about Tzara'at is so that the priest can recognize the Messiah. Yeshua's intent, his instruction to this man was, go and testify by showing your healing to the priest. Your showing your healing is a testimony that I am the Messiah. But the man did not follow his calling. He thought, what does he know? I know better, right? Don't we do the same thing? Don't we often say, well, what does God know? I know better. This is exactly the man with Tzara'at. It's you and me as well, the man with Tzara'at, who do not do God's bidding. The road to hell is paved with good intention. And this man may have had good intention, but he didn't follow Yeshua's instruction. That is the road to hell. He failed in his calling. In the Torah portion, we spoke about how Yeshua is the leper Messiah, and I've already touched on it now. It's because he bore the sins of the entire world on his shoulders as he was crucified. As the sin bearer, he became the leper Messiah. It is high time for Gentile followers as well, and for Gentile followers of the Jewish Messiah to make teshuvah, to make a return, to walk in his ways, to walk derech Yeshua, Yeshua's way. It's a narrow interpretation of the Torah way, and there are examples in the Bible where Yeshua said, if you look at a woman in lust, you're already guilty of adultery. If you hate your brother, you're already guilty of murder. It's a narrow interpretation. Yeshua also said that we will not inherit heaven in the life hereafter if our rightfulness does not exceed that of the Pharisees. What he was talking about is he requires a narrow interpretation of the Torah. Does that sound to you as if Yeshua said, don't worry about this, the Torah's been done away with? No, the Torah applies, and it applies in the narrow sense. It is serious stuff, and that's why I keep on hammering on it. So I hope that this will stimulate some thought in you, and I hope that you'll feel encouraged to read the scriptures and to read it attentively and not merely to fall asleep at night. I pray that Adonai Eloheinu will bless you and keep you, that he will shine his face upon you, that he will smile lovingly upon you, and that he will be gracious to you by forgiving your sins and leading you on his narrow way. I pray that Adonai will provide for all your needs, physical and spiritual, that He will heal you from your tzara'at, and that He will give you shalom. Shalom means He'll make you complete. That is, healing from tzara'at makes you complete, but shalom also means to give you peace. Shalom, shalom.